Hey everybody, thank you for joining me here on Let's Talk Weather. I'm meteorologist Rob Wilson here. It's coming up on the end of the week, actually Friday. It's just about ready to start here, and our weather is beginning to change. If you watched my forecast from early this week, I talked about how we were going to have that great weather here for the midweek, but eventually the high pressure that was our protection from anything bad was eventually going to break down, or at least move far enough east where we would start to see clouds re-enter the region and eventually even some rain and potential thunderstorms. And that's what we are just on the edge of here as we go through this Thursday night and into Friday morning. It's happened exactly as we talked about early in the week. We were going to see the clouds first, but rain was going to have a really difficult time of setting up here due to the ridging into the area. I'll show you where how that kind of plays out right now and how things are setting up. But eventually, the high is going to move far enough, and we're going to get a smattering of rain as we transition out of what has been a really, really nice and warm and has become actually a humid air mass into a cooler, drier weather pattern for next week, at least as compared to this week so far. But right now, the big stories are going to be what happens here for this weekend with the changing of the guard, as it were, especially on Monday. And then we'll see how next week plays out overall. In the short term, it's really how active is our weather going to be as we transition through this incoming weather pattern with the low pressure sliding in from the south and west. How well put together will it be as it comes through? So we definitely have some items to keep our eyes on. Let me get this cord out of the way. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. Okay, so let's get to that, and we'll show you what's happening here first on the satellite picture. All right, I'm going to slide myself out of the way. Boom, let's put myself down in the corner. There we go, get myself out of the way. I like it. Okay, here is your national infrared satellite picture. You know what? I got some good stuff to take a look at here for today. Kind of some fun items to keep our eyes on. We've got high pressure off the east. We've got low pressure here in the central and northern plains. We've got more high pressure out to the west. How does that all actually play out? Well, let's bring up the drawing tools and we'll talk about it. Let's start off with low pressure, which is going to be this one here. This one's pretty obvious, all right? You can see the low circulating right here, so I'm going to draw that low. Oh, I always do that the first time out. Let's draw that low right where it belongs, which is right about here. There we go. Okay, you can see you're getting the clockwise rotation around the low like this. Remember, counterclockwise, excuse me, in the northern hemisphere, counterclockwise around the low. And as you see that action there, you get warm air pulling around it, and that's why we're getting that southwesterly flow out ahead of the low like this. Now, it also is playing out that warm air is going to be dragged up like this around our high pressure, and we draw those in blue, which is, as I have to look at the clouds, because it's not overly evident. I'm looking at clouds here. See how these clouds here are still being pulled in, and these clouds are going up to the north a little bit? If you look really closely, that tells me your high is right about here. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close, okay? So what does that do for us? Oh, come on, tools. There we go. Again, gives us that ridging pattern like this, which is protecting now the east coast, but as it moves to the east in this direction, we're going to see the cloud pattern move in around that low. This low is still tracking in a pattern where it is still sliding up and over the high for the most part, but it isn't having to push so far to the north. It's actually more now moving toward the east, northeast. So we're going to pick up the front, which is dragging down behind it, which is about like, let's see if we can draw the front right about in here. Another item I want to show you is the dry line that is also tailing off of this. And the dry line's a little bit harder to spot, but it's actually what's developing all our weather here in the central part of Texas. I'm going to show that to you in a surface analysis rather than me draw it, because it does a much better job of it than me trying to hand draw a dry line. And dry lines are kind of an important item to keep our eyes on because it'll be on those boundaries where you pick up your severe weather, especially in Texas, Oklahoma, where we're looking at tornadic activity. It's been a fairly quiet start to the tornado season so far, but we're as things pop up and as the setups end up better for severe outbreaks, I'll talk more about that. But right now, we're only looking at a slight to marginal risk down here in the southern Texas area, right down in here. So not a huge concern right now. They had much stronger storms, I would say, yesterday. Okay, then behind that, let's go over this real quick, and just because I can, there is high pressure out here to the west. That is a player for us next week, not in the short term, but as this low kicks through, we'll pick up more low pressure that'll develop here in the south that'll pull in, and then the high pressure will build in behind everything. And really almost a rerun of what we had earlier this week. Tons of sunshine, good weather, clear skies. It's going to be slightly cooler, though, than it was. We were in the low 80s for most of this week. We're probably looking at lower to maybe middle 70s. At least that's how it's shaping up right now. Okay, let's move along here. I'm going to go to that surface now because I think it's interesting, at least to kind of show you something different that I haven't shown you yet, at least not all that often. There it is. Okay, so this is a surface now from WPC, and I'm going to leave it zoomed out here to start, show you the national picture, but you can see a few of the features. Stationary front here, cold front here. There's our low pressure I just drew for you, and the cold front I drew off of it. But here is the dry line. Let me zoom this in, and you'll get a better look at it. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail today on how to analyze or how to decode surface station observations, but that's what all the numbers are, and see the circle with the lines coming off of those? Those are surface station reports, okay? And it has a lot of great data in there. Wind direction, wind speed, temperature, dew point. It also tells you about pressure. It'll tell you about visibility, cloud cover, rain intensity. It's all in there if you know how to decode it. That's for another day, but what I will show you is how you get a dry line and why you draw a dry line like this, okay? It's not a normal front per se, because generally we think of cold fronts and warm fronts, or occluded fronts and stationary fronts, as dividing air masses by temperature. Dry lines divide air masses that the only difference between them is how much moisture is in them. And in this particular case, it's going to be the green numbers. See the green numbers? See, like this station here is 81 degrees with 44-degree dew point. You'll notice that the temperature to the right of the dry line, very similar to the temperature to the left of the dry line. So it's not dividing air masses by temperature, but the dew point. If you look here, dew point 67, 68, 64, but behind the dry line, 44, 40, 41, 42. So that's why we're drawing that dry line here. And if you look really closely, you can see 64 here, 57 here. So that's why the dry line gets drawn in between there. That does help drive active weather down here to the south. It'll show you where, I'll even bring up a tool here. Let me just kind of show you this, where you're going to get warm, moist air that comes in off the Gulf of Mexico like this. Okay, and it's going to butt up against cooler, it doesn't have to be cooler, but drier air. Sometimes it's cooler, but drier air that comes down like this. Now, it's along these boundaries where you get this mixing, and that's when you get the right conditions, and overrunning jet and all kinds of things, which, again, conversation for another day, but I'm setting it up here, just kind of teasing it, throwing out a little nugget for you. It's along these boundaries, when you get the right conditions, that's where we look at for areas for developing supercells, which can eventually lead to tornadoes or large hail or things like that. But we're not seeing it enough today, but indications are there that if it were perfect, a little bit better than what we have today, you could see that activity. But this is what we're looking for on the surface map. So if you ever pull one of these up, that's what we're looking at. Again, up here, cold front, warm front, this thing here is a is a dry line. This line with the little circles on it. Now, if you're looking what other features on here, they got a trough here. See the dash line? That's a trough. Again, we'll do this a sequence on this on another day. We're talking about how to decode surface analysis, but good enough for today. All right. Let's move on. Let's go to the radar now. I'm going to kind of push that ahead. There we go. And what we're seeing on the radar is, let's start off here with a look around Pittsburgh. Since that's where I am and a lot of my friends are, we'll put this into motion, and at least I think I have it. Yep, there we go. Oh, I got to get myself all the way out of the way. There we go. I know what I'm doing. All right, here are some showers that we had earlier this evening. They pushed through again. Not a lot of activity, and that's due to the high pressure, which is actually, again, down over here southeast of where I'm circling the little hand right there. Notice the rain over here is still being forced up and over the ridging, but because the ridging is breaking down a little bit, we do see the intrusion of some showers like this. And that's what's going on here locally. Now, as I back out a little bit, it's a much more active spat of weather going on up here in the Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa area. You can see Cedar Rapids right there, Kansas City right there on the border of Missouri and Kansas. But if you look at the general direction of it, this whole thing is sliding up and away. So our potential here in our little corner of the woods and of the world here in Pittsburgh is limited at least for another day or two. And then we'll see our activity pick up as low pressure moves in from the south. Yeah, not this. It'll be low pressure builds in from the south here out of Texas. We're going to see a little cyclogenesis going on, which is a good Latin term, meaning it's the development of a cyclone, which will, again, terminology for another day. I won't get that go too deep down that rabbit hole for today. Okay, let's move on to the model data. Yes, let's see what's going to happen. All right, next couple of days here, we'll start here at 4Z on Friday. Again, Eastern time zone, daylight savings, subtract 4 hours gives you your local time. So 4Z equals 0 on the clock, 24-hour clock, which is midnight. Okay, so we're going midnight Thursday into Friday, and you can see there's not a lot happening here locally. I'm going to hit play. And just keep your eyes on the showers. There's just not a lot happening. Most of the rain, here's our low here. I'm going to stop this here. This is 9 o'clock in the morning, 13 minus 4. Tells you 9 in the morning. There's our low. Look how much farther north it is as compared to where it is right now, still being shoved to the north. So, again, our potential for seeing any of that action minor. All right, we're going to get some spin-off showers. Don't get me wrong here. A little sprinkle here, a little quick shower there, and you'll see a little rumble making its way in here Friday evening. 21 minus 4 is 17, so you're getting 5 o'clock in the evening. Drive home. Got a couple little squalls going through here, and that has the potential to pick up a little rumble. But notice it's not some big outbreak, some huge line and massive, severe weather. No, some rumbles could push through here during the Friday evening time frame. And there it is. And by the time you hit 9 o'clock at night, Friday night, it's gone. All right, there's not much behind it. Leaves us with a Saturday forecast. It'll shape up like this. Let's take you into the morning and stop this at around 8 a.m., 9 a.m. And now look at the rain starting to push in from the south and west. This is what I was talking about. It isn't the low that went by. It is gone already. It's something that is developing to our south and west, and you'll see it push in rain. Here it comes. There we go. And as we move into early Sunday morning, that's when our best chances for rain occur. We're looking at Saturday night into early Sunday. I'm just going to take this all the way to the end. There it is, 12Z. Strong action down over here in the North Carolina coast. We have for us just some showery weather, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder there, making their way into the Carlisle, Bedford area. It's wet weather, but it's not terrible. But it does transition us. I'm going to take it to the next computer model. The reason I do that is because it doesn't go. This one doesn't quite go far enough. High res 3K resolution. You can see that right here. Doesn't go far enough to show you what I want to get to, which is the transition from Sunday's relatively warm weather into the much cooler weather on Monday. All right, so we'll drop back. We're going to use a 12K here, and we'll start off at Sunday at 12Z. There we go. There's our little rain moving in. Now watch what happens. See this line up here to the north? That is our next incoming cold front. Watch as it drops in on us early Monday. 3Z, so we'll call it even Sunday night, but really it's Monday morning as that front moves through. Clearly a front right here going like this. Once that passes by, opens the door to cooler air, but it does another thing. Look at the high pressure now. Dropping in from the north, big H. That means we are going to get cooler air. Let me go ahead and pull up the drawing tools on this. We will get the cooler air in behind this, the front. High pressure, clockwise rotation. So we will see cooler air dive around that high. So temperatures will drop on Monday. But we already know what happens with high pressure. Clear skies. And as that high moves off to the east this way, we hit the backside, then the warmer air will take hold, and it won't take long. We're talking easily as early as Tuesday, we'll start seeing the backside southerly flow around that high, and you'll see the temperatures jump rapidly. All right. That's it for the computer models. Let's see. Do I have anything else here I want to show you? Yeah, I'll show you the numbers here. I've shown you this a few times. Here are the cooler temperatures. Sunday, 73, but with our showers. Okay. Monday, down to 63 for a high. And then as I showed you, that high moves east rapidly. And look at the jump in temperatures quickly. 71 for a high on Tuesday, 77 for a high on Wednesday. Next Thursday, 76. Sunshine from Monday all the way through Wednesday. The clouds return early on Thursday. But hey, that is again a very nice stretch of weather for us, much like we had this week. Maybe not quite as warm. We have a chance to hit in 80s and once the numbers start to kind of work themselves out as we go through the weekend. But you know what? Good news to come as we flip the page into next work week. I'll take it. I'll take it. Like I said in my last one, spring has finally sprung. Looks like Mother Nature is going to let us hang with these warmer temperatures for a while. I don't see any snow. I don't see a major cool down coming in the near future or even a week off. So we're going to take it for what it's worth and enjoy it. Get our yard work done. I've got things I got to get planted. I'm sure you do too. And that's how it's going to play. Hey, I do want to say hello to somebody out there shared my channel on a subreddit out there, and got some new viewers that way. I want to say hello. Thank you for joining me here, and hopefully you're enjoying this. Toss me some comments. I've already had a couple of nice comments there on the page. I did have a request for weather, which I will get to in my next forecast. It's actually a good friend of mine from high school. Her mom is going on a trip out to New York, and so we'll be looking at some New York weather next time around. And if you have a special event coming up, let me know, and we'll see if we can get you a little specialized itinerary forecast for you. Okay. All right. That's it for this Thursday on Let's Talk Weather. Again, I'm meteorologist Rob Wilson. Give the channel a like, give it a subscription, tell your friends, share it, whatever. And hopefully you're enjoying this because I'm having a great time doing it. And hopefully that comes across, and I'll keep doing them as long as I'm having fun, right? Yeah, there you go. That's how you like it. All right, guys, that's it for this evening. I'll see you guys next time around. Take care. Bye-bye.